Today, in the nerdy news you need to know about, the PlayStation 5 Pro is real and making people really angry. We are getting a Final Fantasy Remake Part 3, of course, but will we find out about it in 1 year? And I Am Your Beast apparently is great. We'll have all this and more because this is Kinda Funny Games Daily. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Kinda Funny Games Daily for Tuesday, September 10th, 2024. I'm one of your hosts, Greg Miller, alongside Forbes 30 Under 30, a.k.a. the second best baby blues, a.k.a. the Nintendo Switch fanatic.
Oh, that's me, baby.
Tim Yetis. How you doing, Tim?
I'm doing really well. Really well. Really excited to talk about all this. I know we just spent an hour and a half talking about the PS5 Pro, but I want to talk more with you, Greg.
I want to talk more with you, the audience. Of course, if you're watching live, be part of the show with the YouTube super chats, youtube.com/kindafunnygames, to give me your thoughts, opinions, and of course, what you think of the PlayStation 5 Pro, if you're buying it, if you're not. Kevin, can you run a poll? You got the ability to do that? Can you poll for me, Kevin? No, okay, I didn't think so. I thought that might be a little beyond your capacity. You are switching and doing a million things. Don't worry about it.
I'm also working on some other stuff.
What are you working on? Is it secret stuff?
No, it's just the house, like our time code stuff. I didn't pre-prep it before we started.
Sure.
So it's all blank, so I need to fill it out before you start filling in things.
Okay, fair enough. I love you. Yeah, it's an early morning, Tim, but it's not even that early anymore. It was the idea that we would be so ahead of the game. They're like, oh man, we'll do Games Daily at 9:15, and it's now 9:40. So people will show up, or the normal Games Daily time, be like, oh, they started early, but
people are gonna come in like, did they talk about the PS5 Pro?
And I will fucking swing on them. Swing on each other.
What did you want the poll to say?
You buying a PS5 Pro? Yes or no? That's it. That's all I want to know. That's what I want to know. When we get there, Kevin, you tell me, okay? No, well, Zio in the Twitch says, will you buy a PS5 Pro? 1, yes. 2, no. 3, Greg sucks. Don't do that. That's not how the poll needs to be read. I love a good early morning. Again, was this the most? What did you find? What just came out of your pocket?
My ring.
Oh, you had it off. You were at the bars last night?
You know what I mean?
You were at the bars last night? Yeah.
No, it's in the morning whenever it's early, I need to sneak out without waking up the dogs. That doesn't work out, but I got to try my best to not, wake up G.
Yeah.
And then when I put the gook in my hair, you know what I mean? I don't want to get my ring all gooky, so I put it in my pocket. Then I forgot, and I put it on.
Got it.
And I got a Magic Cart Band-Aid.
I never take my ring off.
Because I hurt myself. Really?
Yeah, even with the hair gel and stuff. Or hair. I just use, the
I get uncomfortable with things on me, so I have to fidget.
Yeah. I understand. The goop getting underneath there would not be good.
I'm an oily boy.
Yeah, gross.
Oil things up.
I don't like that one bit.
That's what it is.
We might as well just dive into it. There's a ton of news on top of the PlayStation 5 stuff, so I'll remind you that this is Kinda Funny Games Daily. Each and every weekday, we run you through the nerdy news you need to know about live on Twitch, YouTube, and podcast services around the globe. If you love that and love us and love the shows we make here as a live talk show network, pick up the Kinda Funny membership as a reward for us and yourself. Of course, $10 would get you all of our shows ad-free, the ability to watch us record our podcasts in the afternoon, and your daily dose of Gregway, my vlog/podcast series that's exclusive to you. Of course, you get it all on patreon.com/kindafunny or youtube.com/kindafunnygames. Like I said, live talk shows all day long. Couldn't do them without you. You are invited to be part of the show, as I've already done. Super chats, please get them in. Then some housekeeping for you. On Friday, September 13th, Organization 13 takes over the Kinda Funny spare bedroom. And only one man and his friends have the keys and friendships to take it back. Mike, Ricky, Kyrie, and Sora return for Mike's epic journey into Kingdom Hearts with the start of Kingdom Hearts 2. Tune in to the marathon stream starting after GameScast on Friday, exclusively on Twitch, with the YouTube upload later. Help make Andy share the Paopu Fruit with Mike to seal their friendship forever.
It's going to be a magical moment for everyone to experience. Oh, yeah. I can't wait to see this. It's been way too long since I've experienced Kingdom Hearts 2, and experiencing it through the eyes of Mike, I feel, is the best way possible.
It's probably the best way to experience most things.
That is true. Most things. Some things I'd question, but
not a bank account.
Yeah, definitely not.
A credit card statement. Don't want any of that. Don't want any of that from Mike. But
God bless him.
God bless him indeed. Like I said, 11 people live talk shows. That's all we do all day. You've already gotten GamesCast. It was our live reaction and then post-show. All is one thing as the Kinda Funny GamesCast. That's available momentarily on podcast services. Already up on youtube.com/kindafunnygames. After this, we are, of course, streaming video games. It will be the one, the only, the Hispanic Heartthrob Texas Treat Latino Heat. Clicking heads, ripping to shreds, the Globetrotting, headshotting, rootin' tootin', three-point shooting, Nitro Rifle from Twitch.tv. Andy Cortez playing Astro Bot, and then I think that other deadlocked a little bit maybe. If you are a Kinda Funny member, my Gregway will be alive momentarily. It's about how effing good a little game called Starfield is 1 year later.
God damn. I did not see that coming. I love it.
Let me tell you about a moment I had last night in that game. I talk about it. It's a spoiler thing. It was real good. And I was like, God, this fucking game, despite all of its many flaws.
Yeah.
This fucking game. You kidding me? Let's go. Shattered Space this month. Can't wait. Thank you to our Patreon producers, Delaney Twining and Carl Jacobs. Today, we're brought to you by Shady Rays and Hymns, but we'll tell you about that later. For now, let's begin the show with what is and forever will be the Roper Report. Time for some news. I've been building while we were live. We'll say seven-ish stories.
Seven-ish stories.
A baker's dozen.
Let's start with number one, the biggest one, of course. The PlayStation 5 Pro is real, and it's real expensive. The one and only Mark Cerny, of course, took the stage digitally today to give you a 9-minute presentation all about the PlayStation 5 Pro.
That I thought was a bit interesting because they labeled it a PlayStation technical presentation.
Yeah.
Right? Which is a rare thing for them to do. But they didn't talk about it as being the PS5 Pro reveal. Right?
Sure.
It was just a PlayStation technical presentation. We all knew it was going to be the PS5 Pro. We assumed, and then they kind of accidentally leaked it via unlisted YouTube video. We missed the first, 30 seconds of that video because we were having some audio issues here.
Yeah.
So I don't know exactly what he was saying and how they kind of talked
Kevin,
about it.
let me hear the first 30 seconds of the PlayStation presentation.
This is a different video.
Yes, I know. I'm asking you not to show this video and show me the first 30 seconds of what Mark Cerny was saying when he came out. We had audio issues.
I'm just surprised that they just got right into it the way that they did.
Yeah. There wasn't a big when we came in, I was like, oh, they're still talking about PS5.
Yeah.
So
no,
we're doing hey, this is what it used to be, and now this is what it's going to be. And then they kind of just like, oh, and the PS5 Pro is going to
Yeah, so just thought that was a bit of an interesting call to not kind of promote this. But I also think it's fairly telling about how PlayStation is promoting the PlayStation 5 Pro. In terms of how much weight they're putting on it and how much expectations of the consumer they have.
Yes, there are a lot of expectations for the consumer. While Kevin finds that, I will dive into here we go. He's got you can scrub through it.
But like it doesn't. I think that they're in the back end, like changing the video because like look, when I scrub through it, it doesn't match what it's supposed to be. All right.
Here we go. 5 minutes? 7 minutes? There's Horizon.
That is weird, yeah.
You see how it does?
Yeah, no, totally. Yeah, that's weird. All right, we're almost there. We're doing it. The Wild Stallion says digital gremlins at work. Oh, the Wild Stallion, because it's I get you.
Pro, and how it advances gaming tech.
Hold on.
There we go. This is exactly what we didn't hear.
Yeah,
so here we go.
Yeah.
We're picking up.
Hi, I'm Mark Cerny.
Hi, Mark.
I'm excited to be here to talk about the newest addition to our console lineup, PlayStation 5 Pro,
Just boom.
and how it advances gaming technology.
I mean,
but first, I want to take just a minute to look at what we put in the original PlayStation 5 and how
we're
it
caught up,
delivers.
Kev. Thanks. That's all we wanted to hear. Yeah, I hear you, but it's also like on purpose, right? Like they don't want this to be that big of a deal.
That's what I'm saying.
You know what I mean? It's like you in the review scale.
The consumer's expectations. Like I feel like that this is very much setting up just like, hey, we're not presenting this as if like, hey, everyone tune in, the PS5 Pro is about to be announced. If they did that, I think the expectations would be a little bit different. That's why this met expectations. Did not exceed them. Didn't exceed them at all, period. We'll get into the details there. But like, yeah, like I'm surprised how quickly they got into it. But I also am not surprised that this feels like legitimately like this could have been an email. That's what this was. Hey, Mark Cerny's doing a technical presentation.
Yeah.
That's a fucking email in video form.
Yeah. We read from the PlayStation blog. We developed the PS5 Pro with deeply engaged players very specific, and game creators in mind, as many have asked for a console that runs even higher fidelity graphics with smoother frame rates at 60 frames per second. We achieved this on PlayStation 5 Pro with several key performance features. That's what the blog called it, all right? Our man, Mark Cerny's calling it the big three. All right, everybody. Number 1, upgraded GPU. With PlayStation 5 Pro, we are upgrading to a GPU that has 67% more compute units than the current PS5 console and 28% faster memory. Overall, this enables up to 45% faster rendering for gameplay, making the experience much smoother. Number 2, advanced ray tracing. We've added even more powerful ray tracing that provides more dynamic reflection and refraction of light. This allows the rays to be cast at double and at times triple the speeds of the current PS5 console. And then number 3, AI-driven upscaling. We're also introducing PlayStation Spectral Super Resolution. That's PSSR if you're paying attention at home. An AI-driven upscaling that uses a machine learning-based technology to provide super sharp image clarity by adding an extraordinary amount of detail. Other enhancements include PS5 Pro Game Boost, which can apply to more than 8,500 backwards compatible PS4 games playable on PlayStation 5 Pro. This feature may stabilize or improve the performance of supported PS4 and PS5 games. Enhanced image quality for PS4 games is also available to improve the resolution on select PS4 games. PS5 Pro will also launch with the latest wireless technology, Wi-Fi 7, in territories supporting the standard. VRR and 8K gaming are also supported. It's humbling to see how game creators have embraced the latest technology from PS5 Pro, and several games will be patched with free software updates for gamers to take advantage of PS5 Pro's features. These games can be identified with a PS5 Pro enhanced label within their title. Some games you can look forward to include blockbuster hits from PlayStation Studios and our third-party partners, such as Alan Wake 2, Assassin's Creed Shadows, Demon's Souls, Dragon's Dogma 2, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Gran Turismo 7, Hogwarts Legacy, Horizon Forbidden West, Marvel's Spider-Man 2, Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart, The Crew Motorfest, The First Descendant, The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered, and more. We kept the look of the PlayStation 5 Pro consistent with the overall PS5 family of products. You'll notice the height is the same size as the original PS5, and the width is the same size as the current PS5 to accommodate a higher performance spec. Players can add an Ultra HD Blu-ray disc drive or swap out console covers when they become available. The PS5 Pro console will be available this holiday at a suggested retail price of $699.99, $700 US, 700 in Great Britain, 800 euros, and just about 120,000 yen. It will include a 2 terabyte SSD, a DualSense wireless controller, yada, 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 yada. All the stuff you'd expect from that one. The PS5 Pro is available as a discless console. The option to purchase the currently available disc drive is for PlayStation 5 separately. I fucked that up. You know what I'm saying. You can buy the disc drive already that's out separately for this. PS5 Pro will launch November 7th and will be available at all the retailers, yada, yada, yada. Pre-orders begin September 26th. Tim, I thought it was important to read it all. I know it was a long time to go, a lot to dissect. Where are you at?
I mean, it's a lot of info, but I also just think it's a lot of, hey, clearly they don't have a selling point that is hidden. Like, there's nothing here. There's no magic bullet that's like, this is why you need a PS5 Pro.
Sure, but you're buying it.
No, this is why. I mean, I do not need one. I want one, and I'm going to get one because I am the exact market for this type of thing. But I do think that this is complete evidence that PlayStation does not have the solutions that are able to explain why people that have a PS5 should upgrade to a PS5 Pro. Because if they did, they would be able to just be like, hey, all your games are going to run 4K 60. That just doesn't exist. That's not going to be a thing for a very long time. So I think this is another step in the direction of iterative console cycles. Yeah. We saw it last generation with PlayStation. We've seen it in different ways on Xbox and Nintendo, surely, especially in the handheld sphere. I'm surprised at how much they're talking about 60 frames per second. Like there's clear buzzwords that they've held on to over the years, and then some have transformed to just kind of become standardized things like HDR. And then we have an understanding of resolution. 1080p means something to us. 4K does as well. But I think even then, 4K fidelity is starting to kind of take over as being the more that's what they're actually pushing, because they can't actually promise 4K. They can promise fidelity,
sure.
you know?
Yeah.
But it is interesting that they're now talking about 60 frames per second as smoother frame rates at 60 instead of just higher frame rates. Like they sure in the video they did mention the 120 and the VRR, the variable refresh rates and all that. Like that stuff those are features, but that's not what they're pushing with this. They are pushing 60 because they see the value with 60 as the baseline goal. But to be clear, that we're not there. So it's like we are now talking about a $700 pro system that is still like aiming for that 60 base, which is good, but it also I just think is telling of where we're at, and I don't think it's exciting.
Exactly, and back to your thing of like, yeah, this could have been an email, it could have been whatever. It's an iterative step, and it's not. It's even less exciting than the iPhone reveal this week, right? Because the iPhone reveal this week has some new bell whistle, whatever.
I think that this is more exciting than this iteration of the iPhone. But that's as somebody that upgrades my iPhone every single year. So like I'm the built-in customer base for this type of thing. And again, I'm not even throwing shade at Apple. Like whatever, they have some upgrades. Next year is going to be the big one.
Yeah.
There's not going to be a next year PS5 upgrade. This is the big thing, and I think that. Again, it just shows where we're at with pushing tech. I'm very excited about this PSSR. I believe in it. I think it's going to solve a lot of the problems that I, as a consumer, actually have with my PlayStation 5 experience.
Yeah.
And I say that because I believe in the tech. I believe in Mark Cerny, in what they've put out there, because the Tempest audio stuff, when they first talked about it, I was like, I don't know about this. And lo and behold, it fucking worked. And PS4 Pro, when they first talked about HDR, I was like, I was so ignorant to what that actually meant, and then seeing the implementation of it, and now it's essentially a standardized thing for the majority of TVs out there, and seeing a gameplay in HDR versus non-HDR, to me, that's a game changer. That is generational type game changers. And sure, maybe not generational from the SNES to N64 days, but generational in the that to me is the difference between what last gen and next gen looks like. And all that's blurring, talking about generations, because at the end of the day, our biggest titles, some of our prettiest titles are cross-gen. So it's just, how does that cross-gen game run better? And you're telling me that this is going to run it better than anywhere else that can play the game? And I say that because a lot of these games aren't on PC. Obviously, having a top-end PC is going to get you that experience. But as somebody that recently... what's up?
Theoretically, it would cost more, a top-end PC.
Oh, absolutely. It totally would. But I am at a point right now where I have a very, very, very nice PC. It is a couple years old, though. I am at that point that I'm like, I don't need an upgrade. By far, I do not need an upgrade. But I always kind of want a new thing. I always want a new, bigger, better thing. And I've been kind of just playing around, pricing it out, and just considering, like, as I've gotten so much more into my Steam Deck and playing in the Steam ecosystem, I have been considering, like, what if I were to kind of rework my home setup a bit so that it is a better way to play my PC on my TV with all the bells and whistles. And every time I start going down the path, it's still too complicated. No matter how much the consoles are turning more into PCs and PCs are turning into more of a console-like experience, there's still way too many issues with getting surround sound to correctly work on a PC for a video game. Yeah. And as long as those little things are existing, I'm still looking at this like, well, the best technical experience I've had with gaming, period, has been the PlayStation 5. So you're telling me I get an even better version? I am in, but they already had me sold. Are they going to sell others? I don't think so.
Yeah, no, the internet very angry right now, as you'd expect. I think, again, when a pro thing is being revealed with $700 price tag, I think even PlayStation's marketing, right, of saying we developed the PS5 Pro with deeply engaged players in mind, right? They know that they are talking to the whales, the people who are tech files or cinephiles. What's the word I'm looking for? Yeah. Tech files works. People who are like need the best experience, the crispest picture. They have the best TV. They have the best whatever it is. They know they're going for it. And I think that, is a question we had there at the end of our reaction stream GameScast, where somebody was like, do you think there'll be supply issues at launch? I don't. But I also don't think PlayStation's making this and making these announcements expecting this to be 15 million units moved on day one or something crazy. Totally. They know what they're putting out there. They know that this is a high-end PlayStation 5 for people who want that.
Yeah, it's funny to see the chat right now. I'm not surprised at all, but there's a lot of people that are just like, why would you listen to Tim? He's so out of touch with this. I don't know how much more clear I can make it. I am the high-end consumer. Like, I am in touch with the high-end consumers. I am representing somebody that has a home theater, that cares about tech, and I invest my time and money in these things. Like, that's what I've always done. So it's like, yeah, listen to me for that perspective. I'm literally saying I don't think this is for the majority of people. And I also think that the PS5 is a great system, that you don't need to get this PS5 Pro, and I don't think you're going to need it for a very long time. And even saying that, I don't think you'll ever need it. I don't think you're ever going to need this system.
I think this is always going to be optional until you get to the PlayStation 6.
Yeah, I think that we might get to the next Naughty Dog game that comes out, just like Last of Us 2. Like, yeah, I'm very happy I had the Pro at that point to be able to play that game. It still worked on the other one.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I feel like that, we just got to be real here of just like, yeah, there are certain tech products, specifically tech products, that are made for high-end consumers that care about that stuff. This is, I think, the most perfect example of that. And they're marketing it that way.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, just from consumer bases, right? Like you and I have always had this conversation on shows. I'm not that person. I am looks good enough for me. I can't tell the difference. I'm happy in my ignorance. I'm in the matrix and I'm fine with it kind of thing.
You have a DualSense Edge. You don't even use it.
No, I don't. I gave it to Janet.
Yeah. I mean, like,
DualSense Edge, I used it for a month and I was like, this ain't for me.
That says a lot.
Yeah. And so exactly, like that's the thing for me with this one where it is so PlayStation 4 Pro coded for me of just like, but even less, I actually, let's throw that out because it is a different ball wax. I'm so happy with my PlayStation 5 that I will not buy a PlayStation 5 Pro until my PlayStation 5 breaks, until there is a game I see running on it that I'm like, oh, I got to have that. And for me, that is, and granted, this is the opening salvo. This is the next 5 years of PlayStation or whatever it's going to be, right? Whatever. I think the least exciting, what makes this such an unexciting announcement for me is when they go in and talk about like, here are the games that are going to be PS5 Pro enhanced, and they only have one upcoming game, right? Assassin's Creed Shadows is the only game among Alan Wake 2, Gran Turismo 7, Horizon Forbidden West that isn't out already, that I haven't already beaten, that I haven't already platinum in some respects, right? So it's like, that's not cool for me. It would have been way cooler to be like, Dragon Age Veilguard is PS5 Pro enhanced.
Yes, you're absolutely right.
Yeah, please.
Having said that, though, I feel like this is the announcement to then allow the third-party publishers to say that in their own timelines with their own marketing plans. And the reality is, them even having Assassin's Creed Shadows surprises me and excites me. I think that as a sign of the future, they're clearly working with third-party developers on games this year, on upcoming games that are going to be coming out, which to me says the expectation should be that we're going to cross over very soon, if we haven't already, that the big major third-party titles are going to take advantage of this. Because I think that looking at the rest of the year, Dragon Age, I think, is the big question mark of does it make the cut or not for this. And I'm not entirely sure that it will.
Yeah.
I would bet that it does, though.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure that it will. But you brought up Indiana Jones during the reaction. I damn sure believe Indiana Jones will in spring 2025. Like, I feel like, and then at that point, there won't even be a question. It's just going to be, that's how these games are being made. What does that do for the development and like all the different modes and shit? Oh, we are in for some bullshit. We're in for a lot of Games Daily headlines of, oh, this thing's broken and that thing's broken, but that's where tech's at these days. And that ain't going to change.
Joshy G in Super Chat, just like you can, because we have a bunch to get through, don't worry. Joshy G, though, in the middle of this conversation, is I will buy a Monster Hunter Wilds PlayStation 5 Pro. And I think, again, that's where it gets to, what is the game that is going to matter for you? What is the game that is the one that you can't wait for, and then you find out that it could look even better, it could run even better?
Yeah, and I mean, it sucks because I feel like I'm in a place right now where I'm looking down the pipeline of PlayStation titles, third party, first party, or otherwise, and there's nothing. We had Rebirth this year, which would have been a big one. Besides that, we had Spider-Man 2 last year. Like, there's not the big title, and I feel like Monster Hunter Wilds for a lot of people is going to be that.
Yeah.
But I feel like I'm still waiting on the next big game. Like, I guess like Jedi Survivor is another example for me. Like the big games that I feel like do try to push the tech, that interest me personally. Like I, at least at this moment, I'm struggling to think of the next big game that I'm excited to play on my PlayStation. I guess that's what I'm trying to say.
Gravitas throws one out that I think is further away from that, right, is the fact that they're saying, hey, God of War in space, Sony Santa Monica's next thing, right? This Corey game that's been rumored forever. But even to dial that away, the next big PlayStation game, it maybe, I don't know, it doesn't work for you, but Ghost of Tsushima too, right?
Yeah.
And that was already such
example.
A beautiful game. If it is, hey, and here's what it looks like on Pro, different ball game maybe. But again, it's not even how good it would look on Pro as much as how bad would it look on PS5 for me. That would be the thing for me.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think this reminds me a lot of the PlayStation 4 Pro when it was announced, and everyone had the exact same reaction of like, who's asking for this? Why are we doing this? And they were showing Horizon with HDR and not HDR, and everyone's like, I don't really see the fucking difference. And it required people to over time understand all those things, and for the kinks of those things to be worked out. To be clear, they're not fully worked out. To this day, HDR causes issues. To this day. A ton of them. So I feel like it's not even so much a seeing is believing as much as it just becomes the new standard. And you're just like, oh, well, yeah, it's best here. And at a certain point you hear it's best here and you see it's best here enough that you're like, either I'm going to upgrade or you know what? Good enough's good enough. And I think that the PS5 has proven that good enough is good enough for the games that they're making.
Yeah, 100%. I don't think you're wrong about that. Let's get some more super chats in here because there's a whole bunch going through. Corey Clark says, will Xbox need a Pro? Can they add AI upscaling? What I keep hearing about this is silicon, right? It comes down to the chips and it comes down to whatever. And so if you don't have the dedicated space already, which would be something you need to build, you can't do it. And this is what we were hypothesizing with the PlayStation 5 here, right, where they're talking about AI-driven upscaling. We had a question among us of like, well, could PlayStation Spectral Super Resolution be something you put into the PS5? And I was like, no, because layman's terms, it just isn't built to do that yet. Yeah. Correct?
Yes, but like yes, that is correct. Then there's no buts there.
Nailed it.
Having said that, it's one of those things where there certain tech over time, there's just other ways around it, where it's like HDR is a good example of like you needed the PS4 Pro to do the HDR stuff, but then eventually there's a lot of TVs that have auto HDR, so then it doesn't even freaking matter. And like, sure, it's not as good, but you're not paying the extra bit for the Pro, so yes, it's not as good, but you're still getting some of the benefits of it. I do think that a lot of the AI tech and the super sampling across the board, as the technology evolves, I think there's going to be ways that benefit other parts of development so that. Long story short, I think that we will see benefits on the PS5 non-Pro version, but clearly it is the big advancement you're going to get for the other one, for the Pro.
Dcash114 is one of those angry people I'm talking about. They super chat and say, $700 for discless is wild. Gonna build a PC now. We'll get PlayStation 5 exclusives eventually, and my base PS5 will get them well into the PS6 anyways. A lot of sky is falling today, right? Like, I feel like, what I know nothing about the PC market, but what we were talking about here earlier was the fact that $700 can't get you a super great PC. You can get you a PC that'll do stuff.
Yeah, but not yeah, for sure. I mean, look, there's so many conversations that are overlapping and on top of each other because the PC gaming market is becoming more and more console-like. The console market's becoming more and more PC-like. And then the handheld market is becoming the console market and the PC market simultaneously.
Yeah.
We're at a point now where the Steam Deck comes out. And anytime we talk about the Steam Deck, it's important to point out it's not like this thing is selling tens of millions of units, right? Like, it is still a fairly niche product.
Yeah.
But when you go to a Best Buy and you see the amount of handheld gaming PCs out there, there's clearly a shift in that direction that they are trying to build a mass market understanding and desire for that type of experience. And I think that the more people get educated, that just like we saw with the Switch, that there is a demand for handheld hybrid play, right? And in a world that is now, you expect streaming to work. Like, I remember when they first announced Chromecast back in 2012, 2013 or something, and that felt like fucking magic. And it's like, you're telling me that wirelessly I can transmit something from one device to another device, and it was janky as hell, and it never really fucking worked, and the quality wasn't good, and all this stuff. It was like, one day this is going to be great. And here we are in that day where it is not 10 out of 10 perfect. I would argue it's 9 out of 10 perfect. There's always going to be tech quibbles. There's always going to be some problem, but like, pretty much any device we have, we could stream to each other in ways that make me go, wow, I can't believe that worked. In the same way that when I first took the Switch and I took it off the deck and played portably and it just clicked and it was like, holy crap, it worked the way the commercial said. I think that all of those things are kind of congealing into a very clear future that we're building to. And that future is combining all these pieces of tech, because as things get smaller and faster and better and able to process more with less and all of that stuff, we're going to see a world where generations mean less because they have to. And I feel like generations are really just going to be a new way to get people excited about a new lineup of sequels for games. But those games are still going to be playable. I think more than ever cross-gen, and we're multi-generations into that being the case already. So,
but there'll still be a cutoff, right? I think that's still the power of PS6, right? But coming into this, Buses and Bridges say no new CPU. Just wait for PS6/PS5 Pro bottlenecks. And that again, when PlayStation inevitably says we're making the PlayStation 6, it'll be backwards compatible with all this stuff, but PS5 won't be forwards compatible, even the Pro. Like, that's the cutoff, right? Of like, that's what they're doing.
Yes, but I just feel like that's all. Like, it's so semantics at that point, because like, okay, yeah, sure, the PS6 game won't play on it, but will God of War 3 also be on the PS5? You get what I'm saying? Just last time, like, it's like, sure, technically, like, there will be PS6 games that aren't playable on PS5, but like let's look at this generation. Astro Bot is one of the only examples of that being the case, right?
Yeah.
Horizon Forbidden West, Spider-Man 2.
Wait, I'm sorry.
Games that are just PS5 that you can't play on PS4.
Whoa.
Or PS4 Pro.
Am I wrong that Forbidden West was on PlayStation 4 and then it was the DLC?
You're right. Burning Shores.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
So even more proving my point, right? Like that these PS5 games are also on PS4. That's going to happen with PS6. Like, I do not think that it's like, oh, well, this generation's weird because PS4 was so back-end filled that by the time we get to the PS5, we have a banger first couple years, but then it like really like settles out. I just think that we're just now in this new version of the cycle that's going to continue on, where I think towards the end of the PS5's life cycle, we're going to get the next run of Naughty Dog and Insomniac and Guerrilla and just all of their games, but they're also going to be on PS6, and then we're going to be in a similar place next time.
Well, this is why
hopefully there's not a global pandemic, though. And hopefully people have understood at this point, like, what is sustainable in games. A lot of hopes there.
Yeah, and it's the brave new world we're in of what all this means and what a generation is and what it is and what it isn't and so on and so forth. I hear you. Again, I think the PS5 cycle will go on longer because I think they want to get those games out here and make that money, but it'll eventually play on the PS6 when they drop it. But then you're in the same boat. But I think PlayStation's gonna. It's interesting. I want to say learn a lot of lessons this generation, but if no one rivals them and no one cares and the console keeps selling, then no, they don't give a shit and put out the games here, and then we'll have a very slow PS6 launch as well. And 7 years in, you'll start getting the games for that as we get ready for it. But again, then it's back to, what does the number on the fucking thing even matter anymore?
It's just incremental updates. Like, I feel like it's again, you brought up the iPhone, right? We have the iPhone 16 announced yesterday, which is incredibly similar to the 15, which is incredibly similar to the 14.
Yeah.
The 17 seems to be a dramatically different body, way thinner, a lot of different options and different types of tech that they're pushing forward there, which again makes sense. You can't change the world every single year. But when you look at PlayStation, I feel like when you like look at what the PS5 Pro is offering here, and they don't have any tantalizing big buzzwords that actually mean anything at this point. They can't even make promises with this thing. You can't promise 4K 60 because that is they know that they're not able to hit
the developers,
that.
Right?
Whereas like they could, when they announced the PS5, promise SSD and explain to the general person what that actually means through an amazing experience called Astro's Playroom, right? But going through all the talking points they made, the ray tracing and all that stuff, like, yeah, that was the big boost time. We're not there with tech. Like, I guess AI is the kind of conversation, but people still don't understand exactly what that means on the console side. So I feel like the PS6, that will be announced just when there's new tech buzzwords to be able to attach to it of consequence, but I don't think it's going to affect the games that much. Those days are over.
I want to bring in a comment here from the public chat. Chance Carter a while back said, this is when we were talking about the price tags, love the way Greg pretends not to understand $700 is an outrageous price tag. $700 is so much fucking money. But I fall into CJ Splitson, who just super chatted. I don't understand the outrage. It's optional. Like, I'm not motivated. Like, I saw the price tag. I don't even know what they could, with all due respect, they could have priced this thing at $400, and I still would have been like, I wouldn't buy it right now. I don't have a need for it. I'm not angry at the price tag. They're doing something in whatever tech they're putting in it to sell it to the people who want that high-end tech experience. Every piece of tech that comes out is absurdly expensive when it starts. I remember the first time I saw a CD burner on the news, it was like $1,500, $1,800 in like 1990, whatever. I'm like, whatever. I understand $700 is an outrageous price tag. I don't understand, I guess, the entitlement that everyone has of like, this should be priced at whatever my price point is. This device isn't for me right now. That's okay. I'm not up in arms about it. I think another interesting question comes from Yang Fam, who Super Chat says, if a PS5 Pro is $700, how much will a PS6 cost? That's the other thing too, of like when you start looking down the line of what they're going to do and where we'd be by the time we get there.
How much did a PS3 cost?
$599 US
Tech
dollars.
costs money, man.
Yeah.
It's just when you're pushing tech forward,
pretending to listen. Jesus, Greg is shilling so hard. How am I fucking shilling? I'm not buying it. I don't want it. I don't need it. I'm happy with my PS5.
Oh my God! Yeah,
I don't understand. Like the components they buy to make the thing cost them money. I don't. That's real. No, I don't understand.
It is what it is.
Is $700 a lot for a video game console?
100%.
Yes.
Yes,
I won't buy a new Steam OLED because I'm happy enough with my Steam Deck OLED because I'm happy enough with my Steam Deck. What are you talking about? Can we not be adults and have a conversation about this?
Yeah.
Yes, $700 is a fucking ton of money. Groceries cost so much fucking money right now. Inflation is goddamn outrageous. That is one of the reasons, full stop, I'm not buying it. I can't afford this right now with my household income and trying to put my son in school and doing all this stuff. $700 for this thing to get a little bit better graphics? Fuck no, I'm not going to do that. But I'm not mad at PlayStation for pricing it that way. Let's see what the market says. What are we talking about?
I don't have a kid. I'm buying this thing. You know what I mean? But again, like I feel like they're very clearly not trying to get everybody to be like, you need to fucking buy this. Because they know the $700 is an insane amount of money to ask for a console, but the tech backs it up. That's what the price is, and I'm not surprised by this cost at all. And I do think that the PS6 is going to be very expensive, but I do not think it'll be $700.
See, that's the bigger thing is like this goes back to consoles in general, right? And again, why this iterative stuff is so interesting and why, again, consoles will always be behind PCs. When we get to the PlayStation 6, it's going to be, we need to sell this. It needs to be better than the Pro, and it needs to be less money than, it needs to be a place people can actually get into. It needs to be that $449.99, $500 they're selling the PS5 for right now, right?
Yeah.
You need to make it obtainable. And then the idea, of course, is that in 4 years, we can put out the higher end version of that that's still chasing PCs and not catching them, but giving that person who's like, oh, this isn't enough for me, I want more, that option to go get more.
Yeah. A big question I have is, are we going to get to a point where we see console price cuts again? Or is this just that things change and the way of the future is pushing the tech so fucking far that it always has to be more and more and more? Because that's what happens when you hit that iterative point. And the only solution to that is then having a cutoff point. And we look at phones when they have yearly iterations, if not more. You look at the Android side and there's fucking hundreds of these things being put out across all the different hardware manufacturers for it. I feel like they have to have that system of like, yeah, we're putting out these apps with this new OS, and it's not going to function on these things. And people don't care about that on the phone side because they're used to it. People are going to really freaking care on the console side because they're not used to it. And when we have the leaders of these teams coming out talking about generations as if they mean something, I don't fucking believe it. I think that the last 2 generations have proved that these things don't fucking matter the way that they talked about them going into this. And we have a super chat here from oh wow, these things are moving fast. Erotimus saying, at the beginning of the generation, the PS5 box had 8K and 4K 120 FPS, and now they're selling the PS5 Pro doing 4K 60 on cross-gen games. Good times. And yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if 8K and 4K 120 are still on the box because it still is possible for them to hit those things. But yeah, we are still chasing being able to do 4K 60, and we're going to be chasing that for a while because 4K 60 with ray tracing is a Herculean task. And I've seen a handful of times that actually work out. And whenever I do, it's when Andy's showing me something that he had to painstakingly get working with thousands and thousands of dollars worth of PC tech, right? Yeah. Let alone the monitor and all the other things you have to invest in. Tech's expensive.
It is expensive. Yeah, like you said, a lot of chat. We've covered a lot of it. People aren't angry, of course, like I was saying. Yeah, Jesse super chats. Most people complaining still haven't upgraded their TVs to take advantage of the base PS5. Getting mad at options you don't need makes no sense. Again, this is business. This is PlayStation going out and doing this and putting that out there, and I would assume trying to future-proof where they're going and have this option out there. But if it blows up in their face because nobody buys it, good on the consumer for telling them that's not what they want. But then, of course, you, as the consumer, shoot yourself in the foot of how much... Well, not... I shouldn't even say that. I shouldn't say that. If that's the feedback PlayStation takes from this, then they have to figure out what the PlayStation 6 is and figure out how powerful they can make that, at what price point they can make that. But they're always well aware of that and what's going on.
Yeah. I said, I brought this up during the reaction, but I think that you got to look at the sales numbers of the PS4 Pro compared to the PS4 to kind of have, and then compare all that to the PS5. Sony looks at that and understands. They know what they're doing here. I don't think that they're trying to put something out that's going to become the market dominant SKU for PlayStation consoles. But I do think that they understand that there is a growth market for them to a certain percentage, a certain extent. And this is just going to become the new PlayStation that they push. It's going to be the new way that when they show trailers, every game is going to be running on it. They're going to be able to say, this is playing on a PlayStation 5 Pro. And the games are going to be very impressive to us because games look great these days. Games have looked great for a very long time. And they look especially great in trailer format when they're playing on the best hardware possible. So, yeah, I imagine that trend is going to continue.
Well, I thought this is an interesting one I've seen going around. Docs the Fox super chats and says the worst part of the graphic besides the price ... vertical stands sold separately. Just wild. So it's a no from me, fam. Totally get it, but like the new PlayStation, this PlayStation 5 Slim also makes you buy the stand.
PS2 made you buy a stand.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing to get hung up on. I guess it's because it's the premium price, but whatever.
I'm not surprised.
As usual, again, PlayStation, with all due respect, is taking advantage of people like Tim who are going to buy it no matter what. And once you've said, I'm going to spend $700 on a system, you look at it and go, it's $20 for the stand.
I really don't agree with taking advantage of. They're putting out a product that's worth it. And I feel like I don't need to buy it. No.
I just mean on the stand issue. I just mean on the disc drive. I mean the add-ons. It's that thing of the sunk cost. I know. But I'm saying like if making your PlayStation 5 Pro stand vertically is such a big deal to you, and you're willing to pay the $700, PlayStation's like, you're going to buy the $20, $30, whatever the hell stand is as well. That's all I mean. They've got you that much. It's the same thing where people are so upset about it not having a disc drive. They're like, well, if you're in the market for this system and you get to that point, they're assuming you're going to buy that disc drive because you have a library of games, so why wouldn't you buy it?
Yeah, or they're just assuming you don't have it. Because I'm sure that they have the data of the amount of people that are even playing disc drive games at this level. Like when you're talking about the higher end tech, like it's all the percentage game, and like people get all really upset with me whenever I say this. But the fact of the matter is, there have been studies out there looking into people that own 4K TVs versus non-4K TVs, and we're still at a point that like 4K is completely in the minority in terms of households. Yeah. But in terms of households that own current gen video game consoles, the majority have 4K TVs. Yeah. So with that type of understanding out there, you can apply that to other things like the digital market, and when you can apply things to but what about the internet? What about all this stuff? It's like, well, the market's kind of figuring it itself out. Look at how many games are being released. When Alan Wake 2 comes out, it's digital only. Like clearly people are looking at things and being like, well, as big and important as that market is, it's not that important. I feel like those type of choices are going to continue to be made. And I feel like this is for the people that are willing to invest $700 to get a minor update to something that they already own.
That you don't need.
A $700 jump into something that they've been waiting for, which I think that is probably the biggest market for PS5 Pro consumers year one, is people that do not own a PS5 yet, that have been waiting on, I hear a Pro's coming, we're finally going to do this. And I think that the $700 price tag might still scare off a lot of them, and I'd be like, you know what, fuck it, I've waited this long, but I'm still going to just buy a PS5.
Yeah, well, and that's the whole thing too, right? Again, as we keep talking about it, the elephant in the room, or the elephant in 2025, GTA 6, right? Sure. So it is that idea of GTA. There's a new GTA out. You haven't played a GTA in forever. You know how great, you've heard how great games are. You know how big this game is going to be, and so now it's time to make that choice. And so you go there and you either, I'm going to commit and get this $700 PlayStation, splurge because I loved this game in college and I haven't played it since then. Or go to look at it and be like, man, $700 is an outrageous price point, but it makes that $450 PlayStation look a lot more reasonable.
100%, man. Like it's just business marketing. Like that's how things work. Crowdified in the chat says, Tim's describing a very small minority. I know. Like, I know
I don't understand how you're not listening to the words we're saying.
It is for a minority of people out there. And that's why they announced this in a Mark Cerny technical presentation. This was not the fucking PlayStation showcase like, oh, look at this with the new Naughty Dog game. Everybody, you need this. This was just like, hey, we're putting this thing out there. In 2 months, no one, I guess, actually, fuck it. In 2 months when this thing comes out, there's going to be a fucking week of people doing like conversations. Digital Foundry's going to put up great videos. 3 months from now, no one's fucking talking about this thing. It's just another console that exists.
Another spirited rant from Kind of Funny Games Daily. We'll talk about the PlayStation 5 Pro, I'm sure, as we approach that September pre-order date and, of course, that November release date. Like I said, of course, the GameScast was all about this, our live reactions, us going back and forth, answering more of your super chats. So thank you for that support. If you want to go that extra mile because you love us, let me tell you, you're out there saying $700 is way too much money. I understand. How's $10 sound? For $10, you'd support an 11-person small business that makes 20 shows plus a week. Of course, you'd also get all those shows ad-free, the ability to watch us record our afternoon podcast live as we record them, and you'd get a daily multimedia exclusive known as Gregway for your listening and viewing pleasure. On top of that, of course, if you join Patreon or YouTube, you get hundreds of videos that have been, locked up before. It doesn't matter. Right now, you're not using your Kind of Funny membership benefits, which you can pick up on patreon.com/kindoffunny or youtube.com/kindoffunnygames. So here's a word from our sponsor.
This episode's brought to you by Shady Rays. Get ready for the season ahead with quality shades built to last. Our friends over at Shady Rays have you covered with premium polarized shades that won't break the bank. Shady Rays is an independent sunglasses company that offers an unrivaled product that's just as good as any expensive pair that we've worn. Durable frames and world-class optics for all outdoor adventures. With an extensive array of styles and colors, you're bound to find the perfect pair of Shady Rays sunglasses. Y'all know I've been outside a lot in the sun playing some Pokemon Go, and it's such a great experience wearing my Shady Rays when I'm out and about looking dope. Every pair of sunglasses is backed by lost or broken replacements. If you lose or break your pair, even on day one, they told us they will send you a brand new pair, no questions asked. Exclusively for our listeners, Shady Rays is giving out their best deal. Head to shadyrays.com and use code KINDOFFUNNY for 50% off 2 or more pairs of shades. You can try for yourself the shades rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people. shadyrays.com, use code KINDOFFUNNY for 50% off 2 or more pairs of shades. This episode is brought to you by Hims. Guys, sometimes intimate moments happen spontaneously, and we'll always want to be ready so we can perform in the bedroom. Hims has treatments that can help you stay hard and last longer, giving you that boost of confidence so you can be ready whenever the mood strikes. Hims is changing men's healthcare by providing access to affordable sexual health treatments, all from the comfort of your couch. No insurance is needed. Pay one low price for your treatments, online visits, ongoing shipments, and provider messaging. Start your free online visit today at hims.com/kindoffunny. That's HIMS.com/kindoffunny for your personalized ED treatment options. hims.com/kindoffunny. The products mentioned are chewable compounded products, which are not approved by or verified for safety or effectiveness by the FDA. Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions, details, and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Number 2 on the Roper Report, Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 3 news could be coming in 1 year. This is Verity Townsend over at Automaton. In a recent interview with Famitsu about the multiplayer spin-off game Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis, Motomu Toriyama hinted at when we can expect to learn more about the final part of the Final Fantasy VII Remake trilogy. As director of Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis and co-director on the Final Fantasy VII Remake trilogy, Toriyama seems to be completely absorbed in Final Fantasy VII's world and characters. Speaking to Famitsu, he explains that, quote, "I'm also working on the Final Fantasy VII Remake project's final part, so I sometimes feel a bit confused. If someone says Highwind, I think, which one? Cid's airship, the Highwind, appears in Ever Crisis and was briefly controllable in Final Fantasy VII Rebirth as well." Or he says 2. In the final part of the Final Fantasy VII Remake trilogy, the airship is set to play an even greater role as the player will finally be able to fly freely around the world map. In his comments about Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis' second anniversary in September 2025, Toriyama reveals that, quote, "By then, we have By then, we may have started to release information about the last part of the Final Fantasy VII Remake project. So I hope that players will get excited about that with us. This suggests that by September 2025, we may have already received concrete information about the last game in the trilogy, including its title, platform trailers, and even a release date, which is you're jumping over a lot of hurdles there to get to that point, but I appreciate it. Even now, snippets of information about the much anticipated final part of Final Fantasy VII Remake are starting to trickle out, including the fact that it will contain a revamped version of Rebirth's popular Queen's Blood card game. But just looking at the original Final Fantasy VII, we can assume that we'll get a nicely fleshed out snowboarding minigame and visit a number of new locations, including Rocket Town and a whole bunch of other stuff that we don't need to go into. Timothy Geddes.
Yes.
When are we hearing about this? When are we playing? What's going on?
So this is it's a bit of a non-story if you want it to be, but I also think that it is interesting that we now have two of the co-directors of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth to some extent in recent times talking about the third part, the final part in this trilogy as being not just in development but like active and like it's moving forward, and with the release schedule of Final Fantasy VII Remake in 2020, and then the beginning of 2024 getting Rebirth. Like that is a very, very, very tight turnaround for games of the scale and scope that these are hitting, that we expect the third part to match. So there was a talk recently about whether or not it's going to be Unreal Engine 4, continuing what they did in Rebirth and Remake, or if it will make the jump to Unreal Engine 5. I firmly believe they're going to stick with 4. Close this thing out. And having said all that, I feel like we are way closer to this game than we would have ever thought from Square Enix back in 2015 when they're talking about Final Fantasy 15 still being a thing and Remake first being announced, and it was like, all right, we'll see if this ever actually comes
we
to
actually
fruition.
Play these games? Yeah.
And then here we are now, and I fully believe that we will be. So by then we may have started to release information, maybe even the release date, where someone else editorialized that, but I wouldn't be surprised. And release date, maybe not the date to the actual day, but I can't believe that they announced Final Fantasy VII Rebirth at that, was it 25th anniversary? I don't even remember, but the Final Fantasy VII event where they also announced the Crisis Core reunion, and one of them was winter, and then one of them was spring, or like whatever it was, right? And it was like, oh my God. And then they did it. They actually released them.
Yeah.
So I would not be surprised if we do by September 20. Actually, next year, that might be a little early. But I can see. I think that we will hear about Final Fantasy VII 3 by the end of next year.
Damn. Yeah. Okay. I like that. I like that for you especially.
I'm very, very excited.
I know you are.
I don't think that you're ever going to have the time to, but I hope that at some point you're able to play through Rebirth, because I just think that you'd really.
It's just the weirdest thing where I just don't have the drive.
Yeah, I get it.
I mean,
I get it. It's overwhelming. It's a big game. There's a lot going on, so it's like you need. And given your life at this point, I just don't see it ever making its way into your heart.
It's just such an interesting one because I liked Remake so much. It was the first Final Fantasy I finished, but then enough time passed where I just don't think about it. So the sequel to it doesn't like get me jonesing to do it. So every time I sit down and I have time to play something else, there's another game I want to invest my time in.
I totally get it. Yeah. I don't know that you're ever going to be in the right headspace for it. And that's okay. Totally okay.
I could start, maybe I'll start, before game of the year when we get to November, which I know sounds ridiculous, but then I could probably start budgeting out like afternoons here at the office to play.
On a PS5 Pro.
On a PS5 Pro. It'll be enhanced to everybody, of course. Will it be worth the $700? Of course not. Number 3 on the Roper Report. The devs agree Star Wars Outlaws Insta-Fail missions aren't fun. This is Jesse Vitelli over at GameSpot. Difficulty spikes in video games are nothing new, but in the case of Star Wars Outlaws early missions, they're a bit too punishing, even for the developers' tastes. However, the developers at Ubisoft Massive can, quote, see through data, end quote, some elements that are not working as intended. We asked creative director Julian Garrity about the game's controversial instant fail stealth missions. Quote, so especially, you're probably thinking of one of the early missions in Mirogana, which is incredibly punishing, Garrity tells Games Radar Plus. Quote, and for me, that is a mistake, and that is something we're working on improving. He goes on to say, quote, I don't think it means removing the fail state completely, but I do think there are millions of low-hanging fruits where we can make it so much more enjoyable and understandable, end quote. Difficulty comes in all forms, and Garrity wants to create a, quote, sort of tension in these moments. However, things are currently not tuned how the team intended. Verity tells Games Radar Plus that, quote, "We just don't want it to feel unfair. And today I think it feels unfair. And believe it or not, that wasn't our intention. This is more of something that crept in the last week or so, and that we're correcting already for a patch that's coming out in maybe 10 days," end quote. The team is already working to retool certain early missions and create what they believe is a fair version for players to enjoy. Director Matthias Carlson says that the other devs want to be able the player to be in control, quote, "in that knife edge reign between, okay, I'm completely in stealth, oh shit, they're about to see me. They saw me, but I can still do something about it as long as I don't raise alarm. I can create chaos locally to be able to avoid that happening," end quote. He goes on to say, however, if that turns out to not connect with his current tuning and with enough people, it's of course something we take very, very seriously and will consider. Good on them.
Yeah, and again, like I know we've talked a lot about Star Wars Outlaws. There's a lot of good core there, but I clearly feel like there's a lot of big issues, and this is one of my biggest issues with it as somebody that is enjoying the game, or at least enjoyed it up to the point that I could play.
I was going to say, I never got an update. We got the email live on the show that your save might be borked or whatever, and here's your credits, and haha, here's a trinket for your ship. You never went back? My
update was in a incredibly privileged world where I also had a PC code for it. I was like, oh, I'm going to trick the fucking system, and using the Ubisoft Plus, I'm going to use the cloud save, make a PC save, and then I can just continue playing there, maybe even bounce back later, figure that out. And it straight up just wouldn't let me upload the save. Clearly something was wrong with my shit, and I was like, all right. And then I got Astro, and then I was just like, oh, this is what joy and happiness in games just working looks like. And it made me very, very happy. So I haven't went back, and I don't think I'm going to necessarily at this point, which is a bummer because I was enjoying my time with it. I really, really liked it. I do not think it's a 4 out of 10. However, I didn't beat it, and I never will. So my opinion doesn't really matter. But what does matter about it is I feel like there was definitely something there, and I would like them to figure this stuff out. I would like a follow-up project. I don't necessarily think sequel, but maybe. I don't freaking know. But there's something there. And this was one of the bigger misses for me was the Insta-Fail stealth stuff. So,
do you think you'll get another one? This has been a big topic of conversation. Obviously, the critical reception, the stock thing. Obviously, the stock is at a 10-year low.
I'm more interested in the sales of the game. We still don't have info on that. That's where I kind of feel like that'll obviously sway my thoughts on a sequel. I still feel like this game's going to sell well. I don't think it's going to be like the biggest seller of the year. But like at the end of the day, I don't see Star Wars Outlaws being a bomb for Ubisoft.
Yeah. But it's not. It's not going to be a runaway hit, right? And so
no, because I feel like to be a runaway hit, it would need the word of mouth of like, holy crap, this game's amazing. You need to play it, you know. And I just don't think that's. I mean, that's clearly not there. So I think that without that, there's a lot of hurdles already with the amount of quality Star Wars games out there, the amount of quality open world games and Ubisoft games. There's just so many things working against Ubisoft at this point, most of which to their own doing. So
of course,
yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Let's move on to number 4 on the Roper Report. It's your I am your beast review roundup. I put a trailer in there and it deleted itself. There it is for whoever is running control. I forget if it's Kevin or Barrett in there. Of course, this is who is it?
That's Kevin.
Hey, Kevin. Sorry, I didn't know Barrett was back, and I didn't know if you switched off. I dropped number 4 there, a trailer for you for I Am Your Beast. This is a Zavalier Nelson Jr. game, of course, friend of the show. He's been through for him and stuff, and he keeps making games and publishing them. Okay. This one is this first-person Hotline Miami-like is what a lot of people have called it. Is insane, crazy. We saw it a long time ago. The demo played really well with a bunch of us, and the reviews so far are pretty hot too. There is no Metacritic. It hasn't been kicked around that way, but I do have 3 reads for you. Digital Trends Giovanni Colantonio says, all of that happens in a whirlwind few hours that I won't soon forget. I Am Your Beast is a true thrill from start to finish. It's a from its cinematic level set pieces like a climactic chopper battle to its pulse-pounding soundtrack. Big budget video games have long tried to perfect the ultimate power fantasy, but Strange Scaffold pulls it off with a fraction of the budget. It's a game where I truly do feel like a weapon of mass destruction, and for once, my target deserves to be on the other end of that power. Christian Dolan over at The Guardian gave it 4 out of 5 stars and wrote, I Am Your Beast thrills because the details are bright and well chosen. Patch yourself up on the fly by grabbing some nearby herbs. Let the enemy's impregnable attack chopper take out groups of your enemies to help. God damn it. Let the enemy's impregnable attack chopper take out groups of your enemies in helpful bursts of collateral damage. Kill people by booting them into ravines or even jumping onto their heads. Every encounter is a chance to keep the rhythm of carnage racing along as inventively. God damn, dude, I'm forgetting how to read live on air.
Hard,
it's
man.
almost like I've been doing this all morning and I haven't had breakfast as possible. While increasingly desperate radio chatter from your enemies narrates the bloodshed and splatter as if providing the commentary for a grisly Olympics. That feeling's at the heart of everything, in fact. Beneath the smoke and spent cartridges, I Am Your Beast is playground warfare retooled as a sport. In this forest, on the battlefield, you get to perform acts of gruesome excellence. And if you can get it right the first time, you're always just or if you can't get it right the first time, you're always just a restart away from perfection. And then finally, IGN's Tristan gave it a 7 out of 10. I Am Your Beast is a stirring, snack-sized shoot-'em-up that succeeds in spite of its simplified story and slightly punitive progression. Its supremely responsive controls and readily available arsenal of pick-up-and-slay weapons made me feel like a one-man army unleashed on groups of unsuspecting enemies, while its strict time-based goals and bonus objectives gave me reason to return to most of its levels and continually refine my approach. It may lack a true unique hook to put it head and shoulders above the pack, but I Am Your Beast was still furious enough to sink its claws into me and keep me gripped to it throughout its short stay. And then Blessing Adeoye Jr., who is off playing this via Steam Deck, just wrote, I Am Your Beast is sick as fuck.
One of the rare, I guess it's getting a little bit more common as we made the switch over to the daily GameScast, but one of the rare drops in Slack of just like an update on a game, like outside of just us making content about it, of just like, hey guys, like this shit's sick as fuck. So look at it. I mean, yeah, this looks freaking awesome. I can't wait to play it. I still haven't got my hands on it, but
I started it. I'm in the middle of a million things. We're doing Astro Bot spoiler cast this week. We're gonna do some stuff tomorrow. And I know what you've been playing. Of course, Starfield, Redacted, X, Y, and Z. Jumped into this because I love Hotline Miami so much, and it's not that I couldn't disagree more, but it's like I think a 7 out of 10 is too low for this, just from the little bit I played. Where I'm like, the presentation of this, the VO of this, the way the game looks, the way it feels, impeccable so far. Starting it.
Okay.
The one thing I had was we're not doing characters. We're not doing a thing. I'm trying to get it. I'm using the Steam Deck on my computer screen. My brightness sucks. I'm trying to figure out how to do it or whatever. So like, I immediately had a stop of like, I jumped in and then it's like Hotline Miami, but it's not Hotline Miami. So I'm trying to play it like Hotline Miami, and then enemies I can't see because of how dark my screen are. I'm like, you know what? I need to play this either on Steam Deck locally or on a actual rig we have at the office and get back to it. And I haven't done that. So I had a hard stop that I don't blame the game for as much as the technology and how I was trying to do it, and also the mood I was in because I was in between a million things. I am desperate to get back to it because I think it's that impressive and that cool.
Yeah, I mean, I saw Andy playing a little bit yesterday. I was just like, shit. Like it looks fun. Like this just looks like a fun video game, and those are my favorite things, man.
Big Five says, "What is there to spoiler cast about Astro Bot? Lol." What are you talking about? You know what I mean?
Find some fucking joy.
Play
dude.
Astro Bot. What do you mean?
Big spoilers in fucking Astro Bot.
There's huge spoilers in Astro Bot, and we'll talk about them this
big.
week. But I'm sick of talking about all this big news.
So sick of talking about
If
big.
I wanted small news, where would I go?
You go to our last story, the Wii News channel, where we cover all the small news items.
We've been up a long time. Number 6 on the Roper Report, Wii News. Andy's bringing donuts, by the way. Yeah, it's going to be good.
I'm going to eat those fucking donuts.
I also only had one piece of pizza yesterday, so I want more pizza because we deserve it. We've worked hard this morning. IGN says Warhammer 40K, Space Marine 2 publisher Focus Interactive and developer Saber Interactive have detailed the game's first update. The patch due out this week should make, quote, multiple crash fixes, improvements to CPU overheat issue, server improvements, and render bug improvements. Oh, I referenced this up in the Star Wars thing. I thought we'd already talked about it. I forgot that I put it here. Tom at VGC popped up to say Ubisoft's share price plunged again on Monday after a minority investor called on management to take the company private or let it be sold to a strategic investor. The Assassin's Creed publisher share price fell almost 10% during the trading day. That means it has fallen by more than 50% over the last 12 months and now sits close to a 10-year low. Tom from VGC again talks about the fact that Embracer Studio Lost Boys Interactive has laid off an unspecified number of employees. Formed in 2017, the Madison, Wisconsin-based Lost Boys is a remote-first co-development studio whose credits include WWE 2K Series, Tiny Tina's Wonderlands, PUBG, Diablo 4, and New World. In an announcement on LinkedIn, Lost Boys noted that its status as a support studio is directly influenced by the projects and priorities of its development clients. Noble on Twitter had a translation. Mint Rocket, the developer behind Dave the Diver, is going independent, formed by the former Nexon devs. Nexon will continue investing in Mint Rocket. We won, everybody. We won.
Wow.
All last year when it's got nominated for indie, I'm like, it's not an independent game. It's not an indie. It's owned. Nexon owns it. And now they're fucking spinning off to be indie. Outrageous. The Outlast Trials has a new update out right now called Countdown. It's a limited time event for its bloody Saw-like online co-op multiplayer. The Elder Scrolls Castles is out on iOS and Android today. This is basically Fallout Shelter, but Elder Scrolls.
Oh, okay.
And chat, remind me, I was looking at, I jumped in to download it, and I did. I haven't started it yet. It was when I was in the bathroom in between shows. And I was like, oh, it's Fallout Shelter. But then there is a thing of like, it looks like your knights fighting other people and they have health bars and stuff. Did Fallout Shelter have combat like that? I don't remember. I didn't love Fallout Shelter, so I bounced out pretty early. Let me know. Zach says, so Dave the Diver was indie. No, Dave the Diver is now indie. Yes, they had raids, everything. Thank you so much. September 17th, this is big news. Genshin Impact is teaming up with McDonald's for an exciting collaboration in the U.S. that fans are sure to enjoy. This collaboration will allow fans the chance to earn in-game rewards, including the Wings of Delicacies Wind Glider and the exclusive Celebration Crispy and Sweet name card, while also enjoying limited edition menu items. This program will only be available through the McDonald's app.
Genshin Impact at McDonald's in the U.S. That's the power of Genshin, man.
Get 'em, baby.
That's how big they are. That's wild. Good for them.
Roblox will also soon allow developers to sell their games on its platform for real-world money.
Real world, buddy. What world do we live in? This is
who knows what this world is anymore? We asked people watching live on twitch.tv/kindafunnygames and youtube.com/kindafunnygames to keep us honest with that there. Your wrongs at kindafunny.com/you're wrong. Kebab says, worth noting that the base PS4 also supported HDR once the PS4 Pro came out. Interestingly, Xbox One X got HDR, but the base one didn't. I hit a button and now I'm not in the right cell. Okay. Kebab says, you're wronging Toriyama in the Famitsu interview. You cannot control high wind in Final Fantasy VII Rebirth.
I was going to say that.
He may have been thinking about the tiny Bronco that you can fly from region to region. And then Lanky Dragoon says, Star Wars Outlaws cross-save feature just got enabled in a patch today. That's probably why you couldn't do it.
Really?
Him debating.
This might be good news for me.
Or you could just listen to your friend Greg and not play it.
I'm liking it. You know
I want you to enjoy it. Go enjoy the game. Go have fun, Tim, all right? Don't worry about it. You're allowed to like bad games.
There's so many games coming out this year, though.
Totally.
Tim games, man. I don't know when. I don't have time.
Yeah.
I had the time. And they fucked it up. You know what I mean?
You missed your chance. You missed your shot. You miss all the shots you don't take. That's what we're all about
Rito.
here at Kinda Funny. Everybody, this has been another episode of Kinda Funny Games Daily, a bit unhinged because we've been going since 7 in the morning or whatever. Remember, of course, we are all about live talk shows, so we're not stopping. You can get the GAMESCAST, because it already happened, on your podcast service of choice, youtube.com/kindafunnygames, to see me, Tim, Roger, and Andy react to the PlayStation 5 Pro news and then talk all about it with you. Of course, you have a stream coming up right after this. It's going to be Andy playing Astro Bot and then maybe moving into Deadlocked. So there's stuff happening over there as well. Plus, a Kinda Funny podcast went up this morning. There's so much good stuff out there for you to enjoy, including a Gregway if you're a Kinda Funny member. Of course, you can hear me rant and rave about why I'm re-addicted to Starfield yet again. You can get that on youtube.com/kindafunnygames, patreon.com/kindafunny, wherever you want to support us and get all of our shows ad-free, get the ability to watch the afternoon podcast live, and get Gregway. What do you got for me, Tim?
Is this Shattered Space, or are you just prepping for Shattered Space?
Prepping for Shattered Space.
Okay.
This has been the plan all along. I always want to play Starfield. If I could quit, tell y'all, shove it up your ass and walk away, I would just a Starfield streamer. That's all I would do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Have the market cornered.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Just like when Blessing was the #1 Concord streamer, you know?
Exactly.
Ladies, gentlemen, and NBs, that's another episode. Go watch the stream with Andy. And remember that until next time, been our pleasure to serve you.
Pow! That was a good one.
Crushed it.